Trials of the Nine on Eternity. This map has one of the best layouts, if not the best layout for Trials. This is because it was made specifically with Trials in mind. As a note, these are strategies for the map itself, but having a good team to play with is more important than anything. Let's start with the weapons and loadouts that work well on this map. For primary weapons, scout rifles with solid impact and handling are without a doubt the most effective. With that said, pulse rifles are not bad at all either, but you may find the long lines of sight harder to win a gunfight. For your energy slot, slower firing, high impact auto rifles are amazing. Some really good examples of these would be Uriel's Gift or Prosecutor. If you are using Mida Multi-Tool in your primary slot, Mida Mini-Tool can be very effective as your energy weapon, due to the bonus it gives you for having both Midas equipped. A few burst sidearms are decent as well, but auto rifles truly dominate the energy slot for this map. Finally, your power weapons. Try your best to stick with fusion rifles, shotguns, and rocket launchers, as all of them work really well. Swords and snipers are very situational, and you will find that they can get you killed depending on what bomb site is the focus. Snipers are good at defending temple, and swords are good for defending keyhole, but most of the time it's not worth taking the chance. And as for grenade launchers and linear fusion rifles, just stay far, far away from them. Let's get into how to play the map itself. If you're defending, try to get 2 teammates near each bomb site as soon as you spawn. Peek just enough to see the enemies are pushing keyhole or temple. Do not take fights if you spot an enemy this early on. Just make the call to your team and wait for them to rotate for help. If you spot 2 enemies on each side, communicate with your team what site you think they're going to push for. If you're unsure, get together as 4 and team up on 2 enemies. If you played it properly, you will come out with the numbers advantage, and you can rotate for the other 2 as a team. This map is perfect for flanking on defense. If you know what site they're pushing, send 1 or 2 people to flank all the way around behind your enemy. If you stay on the outer walls, you won't show up as red on your enemy's radar. They will start to panic once they realize you are behind them. This gives you and your team a chance to collapse on your enemies. Chances are, once they've noticed they've been flanked, 1 or 2 will run for the hills. Pick up the kills you can, and then rotate as a team to clean up the rest. If you don't want to flank, then remember that when you're defending, the enemies have to plant a charge. Use that to your advantage and make them come to you. Don't make unnecessary peeks, or over push if you have the numbers advantage. Defense is all about being patient, getting picks, and gaining the upper hand. For offense, you have 2 choices to set a charge. On the right will be temple, and to the left will be keyhole. In most cases, temple will be the safer option to start with, as it's wide open and has easy lines of sight. If you peek temple and you see someone, try to kill them by having a better positioning than them, and or team shotting them. On offense, you have much more cover and safer lines of sight than them. If there are too many enemies defending temple, immediately communicate with your team to rotate to keyhole. You have a huge advantage and shortcut to keyhole through the tunnels. If you are able to plant at temple, position your team so you can see all their ways in. These areas are middle hallway, the gate on the platform near the tunnels, and the long alleyway looking towards the defending team's spawn. You and your teammates will watch the beach area near the edge of the map together. Call out to your team where the enemies are, and if you don't see any near your spot, rotate and help them. Defending temple after your team is planted is all about getting picks and locking down all their entry points. If your team decides to go keyhole, be very, very careful when peeking. The enemy has the shorter distance to their line of sight for keyhole, and a majority of the time, they will already be looking. Have one teammate go and check temple to see if any enemies push to defend it. If they didn't, then you're going to want to go and plant temple and rotate to defend it, since you can't push into keyhole on offense with 4 enemies defending it. If your teammate that checks temple says there are 1 or 2 there, you have 2 choices. You can rotate and help them take out the enemies and plant on temple, or you can go for the picks on enemies at keyhole and get the plant there. If you're defending the charge at keyhole, most of the time enemies will try to get through the tunnels or wrap all the way around your spawn area. The nice part about planting keyhole is that you have all the advantage of cover and lines of sight, but it's much riskier to get planted. That's how you play defense and offense. The only other thing is points of interest. If you and your team feel pinched, you can use the tunnels to get beside the enemy. It is very high risk, high reward, but if you can plan and push with your team from different angles, it can ruin the enemy. Be careful around beach. Even though it gives you an amazing line of sight, the only cover is the spheres, and there's no safe way of getting out if you find yourself pinched. That's all the strategies I've used to get multiple flawless runs in Trials of the Nine on Eternity. If you have any questions, please comment below and I will do my best to answer. If you enjoyed the video and or found it helpful, please consider leaving a like, since it gets the video more attention and that helps more people get flawless, which would be awesome. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again soon.